everybody, this is Mary. Welcome back to the kitchen. This is a day that I have been waiting on for a long time. I finally found a great deal on some apples, so today is the day that I'm starting some apple butter. A lot of people buy a jar of applesauce to make their apple butter with, and that's perfectly fine if that's how you want to do it, but I like to make mine homemade all the way. So I found this huge bag of apples. And folks, to be honest with you, they were labeled as deer apples, and I only paid $10 for this bag. Weight-wise, this is a bushel of apples. Most of them, you know, this is a small apple. There's several really big ones that I have already peeled. I mean, this size. There's a handful of smaller ones in here. But they were smaller. Well, the apples weren't perfect. They weren't made exactly in the right apple shape. Some of them may have had a bruise or whatnot. But they got marked down. I took advantage of that because I like to bargain shop. Do you guys like to bargain shop? If you do, let me know in the comments. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just simply peeling these apples. Now, I do have an apple peeler, but I'm being a little more cautious because these aren't perfect apples. There's a few little things in here that I'm going to have to cut out, a few little blemishes. But what I'm doing is I'm throwing them in a bucket of water. Okay. And then from there, I'm simply just going to cut the core out of them. Take all of the stuff right here. You don't want any of that hard stuff left in there. Okay. And I'm dicing them up. And I'm throwing them in that pot right there. Okay. It's not going to take that long to work up a bushel of apples. So I'm going to cook these down. And then we're going to make some apple butter. But I'll show you how I do all that in a little bit. Okay, folks, I have several of the apples cut up. I wanted to go ahead and get the first batch started before I got all the rest of them peeled. So I've had these in water, and I'm just going to put them in here. Oh, great. And I have a cup of water that I'm going to put in here. That way they don't stick. And I'm going to put a lid on this, and I'm going to let it cook until this gets soft. And then whenever it gets soft, I'm going to take my immersion blender and blend everything up and get the chunks out. Then we'll be ready to measure this out and start making our apple butter. I've stirred the apples several times, and as you can see, they have just about cooked down to mush, but there still is several big pieces in here. And as you notice, I put a cup of liquid in here to start so nothing's stuck. And folks, there's tons of liquid that has cooked out of the apples. So I'm going to put my immersion blender in here and just try to make some smoother sauce. Okay, that blended up really, really, really good. And I did not get every single chunk out of here because this is going to cook for a lot longer to make the apple butter. Now, folks, I keep saying apple butter because that is my ultimate goal with this. You can make an applesauce. You can stop it right here. Well, blend it up a little more. That's definitely still cooking really well. You can blend it up and make it all the way smooth. And if you want sugar in it, you can add sugar, cinnamon, just whatever you like in your applesauce. And I have done that multiple times. Ow, the hood. It popped. But I'm going to go ahead and let this cook down for just a few more minutes, maybe about 15 more minutes. And I'm going to get my crock pot out and everything to make my apple butter, because I prefer to make apple butter in a crock pot. It's good, but the main reason is I don't have to sit and babysit it. If you have a lot of time to stand and stir for hours, then that's fantastic. But I would rather just put it on low. I would rather just put it in the crock pot and let it go. Okay. I have my applesauce measured out. Folks, don't worry about trying to get all the ingredients and measurements. That'll be in the description box as always. Okay. I have my sugar. I have apple cider vinegar. And folks, I like to use cinnamon red hots. Okay, I've got one 4.5 ounce package, which that's just a little bit over a half cup. Now, personally, we like just a little extra, so I'll put about another half pack in there. You may not like that much of a cinnamon taste or color. That's up to you. But the instructions call for 4 ounces. I'm putting 6. Okay. I'm going to stir this up. I'm going to put it in my crock pot and I'm going to cook it for about 8 to 10 hours until it gets good and thick. Then we'll process it. Okay. This has been cooking for about 4 hours. So I am stirring it and I've taken the lid off. That way everything is going to thicken up and all the excess liquid evaporate so I can get it canned up. Okay, our apple butter has thickened up very well and it's definitely reduced a lot to what it was whenever we first started. I have a confession to make. This went a little bit longer than the 8 hours. We had something come up and I had to turn it down on warm. So yours may not be quite this dark after 8 hours, but the longer you cook it or the longer you let it simmer, honestly, the darker it's going to get. It doesn't hurt the flavor in any way at all, but I just want to let you guys know you can always turn it down on warm and come back to it later if you have to. Okay, now that being out of the way, that's hot, and my jars are in hot water. I have my canner preheating. Okay, I'm going to ladle my apple butter into my jars. Guys, this smells so cinnamony. Some people say you can get too much cinnamon in apple butter. I say that's nonsense. For us, the more the better. Okay. But I'm going to wipe my rim off to make sure that I didn't get anything on there. I have my rings and my flats. I'm just going to put it on there finger tight. I mean, as you see, it can go more, but we just want it finger tight. I'm going to put it in here. And folks, once I get everything in here, I'm going to make sure that the top is covered in water by about an inch or so. If I put enough in there now to cover everything and keep adding the jars to there, it's going to be too much water in there and it may overflow. So we certainly don't want that. And folks, I have hard water. I have added white vinegar to my canner. That way I'm not going to get that ugly residue on my jars. But I'm just going to go ahead, finish these up. I'll show it to you when it comes out of the canner and let you know what our end numbers are going to be. Okay. Our timer just went off. So let's get those jars of apple butter out of here. They got even darker during the process time, folks. Oop, thank you, Jesus. There's one already sealed. And we've ended up with a good amount of jars. Well, folks, I did get one more little jar like this. And honestly, I put it in the refrigerator. So if I hadn't have taken the extra and plus this one, it would have been another half pint of jars. Okay, just saying. So we have 3, 6, 7, 8 half pints out of the 8 cups of apples that we started with. So hey, that's not bad considering how much it cooked down. Of course, we did have a good amount of sugar in there. But I'm pleased with the amount that we got. This is absolutely fantastic apple butter. It's the recipe I've used for years and years. It's definitely a tried, a true, and a favorite in our family. But thanks for watching, folks. I really appreciate it. Like the video, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I'll see you on that next video.